I just wanted to take a few seconds to talk about a few things that we can do better in our 2-4-2 attack. We've got a 2-4-2 lineup. Recognize that we can run with any two forwards supporting on the perimeter of the field. One of the things that's happening is ice. One of the things that's happening is in isolation. Watch number one right here as 3, 4, and 5 take the running platform into the defense. Now, number one is a forward that did not go with those three, and he gets himself in isolation. At times, that player is getting themselves in between the 9 and the 10. Now, to remove that, you can move towards the defense and actually kind of be in front of the ball and a barrier. That doesn't hurt us at all. But if you are back there and you happen to get the ball in isolation, our supporting players, our 2, 6, and 12, have really got to be aware of that and read that. Make sure that that player doesn't run themselves into isolation. There's no reason that both of our supporting players can't go. It's a long way for the number two to go to support in this particular scenario, but it does not hurt us to add three when a player is in isolation. If a forward happens to get the ball in isolation, recognize that you've gotten yourself into a little bit of a problem. You've got to keep your feet long enough for the supporting players to get there. We never want to run with just one supporting player or run ourselves into isolation. That's a turnover. In this scenario, the defense has us fairly well defended to the left side of the field because we're going on. We've gone left, we're going left again. Remember that stretching the field opens gaps for our number 2, our number 15 to come crashing back in. And I've seen you guys do this a lot. You understand this concept. Now we're realigned into our 2-4-2, and our number 9 can act as first receiver because the ball moved all the way to the perimeter with Blake at 10, with Clint at 10, with Max at 10, and any of those three playing 9. We've got people that can recycle the ball, so we don't necessarily have to run our 9 all the way across the field all the time. Our running platform, our 4-person running platform, has to be aware that at times we want to move the ball to space. If we've got the defense moving backwards, you need to move forward so that we can pass the ball behind you. You become a barrier and dummy runners. This is the running yourself into isolation situation in reverse. If one of our centers uses our forwards as a crashing player as the ball moves wide, at times we're going to want one of the players from our 4-person running platform to recognize that and be a supporting player. Break away from your running platform. So we've got to have you moving laterally across the field and have your eyes up. So in this scenario, number 3 and number 7 become our supporting players. Okay, let's go all the way back to the start where the ball's been moved away from a line out all the way to the wing on the onside, and we spread the field. We're in a 2-4-2 formation. We are doing a very good job moving sideline to sideline. We get 1, 2, 3 phases to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. We go from boundary to boundary. We've got to start getting our eyes up, our 9 and our 10, and recognizing when we can reverse the ball, when the defense has over pursued and we can reverse the ball. Here's one of those scenarios. In this particular scenario, the defense is over pursued a little bit to the left as we've moved the ball across the field, and now you've got basically with the 9 a 4-on-2 to the weak side of the field. And so in this scenario, the number 10 and the number 9 and even this 8, 7, and 11 have to be communicating, "Hey, let's go weak. We got numbers. Let's go." And even if they bounce and defend it, we're still in a very good situation. We've got big players typically running against smaller players in better numbers. If for whatever reason they defend weak, if we move the ball to the wing on the boundary and they happen to bounce over and they're ready to defend us, we need to get that ball back into our forwards. We need to get a good crash, a good bang right there, and then be ready because we're pulling a bunch of defenders down into some forward runners. We've got to move that ball wide across the field. So our 3, 4, and 5 have to be aware. They've got to get themselves out of the way. And in this case, in open play, be mindful enough to be a dummy runner and an obstacle for the defense to pursue. Again, if we get the ball, do not be afraid with gaps in the defense, especially in open play, as the defense is pursuing left and right, and their eye scan has moved weak, then they've moved open side, then back weak. That there's going to be gaps. Our supporting players, our 2 forwards, should be looking at the defense right now, recognizing our backs are going to handle the ball. They should be moving forward and looking for gaps in the defense. And when they see one, they got to get very intense, very loud with their voices, and they got to go at those gaps. We're realigned into our attack formation, and we're ready to go again. Okay, so think about those things, guys. We need to recognize when one of our running players either are in the 2 or in the 4, you run themselves into the isolation, and then the most proximate support players have to see that and have to ruck and have to be supporting ruckers. Also, remember that our running platform of 4 does not always have to carry the ball. At times they can be just in front of our 10, and they can run forward and be a barrier for the defense. Also, they need to recognize that if one of our 2 forwards run themselves into isolation, they have to break away and be a supporting player. Our 9 and our 10, be mindful that reversing the ball is a very valid attack concept. All right, that's all I got.